Alright, so I believe I'm streaming now. Let's see where I left off with the code. So I know that I am working on... I don't know what I'm working on. I'm working on Vigilante, waiting for it to start playing. There we go. Uh, enter, and I'm working on the mechanic shop. And now I can select stuff. Oh yeah, this stuff is all dynamically entered now. It's added to this so that I can select it. Once I press enter though, I want it to be, all it does is put a debug log in here. I want it to enter a state where I can start manipulating. I can click this to pay more, to upgrade a stat. And then I want to be able to tune that stat over here on whatever the strafe is setting up. Alright, so I guess to begin with I need to change what my focus is on, and I need to respond to the back or cancel button as well. Okay, so cancel button, I'll bring in the cancel button first because I should be able to use that to escape the menu at any time or click the exit button over here. Let's try that. Oh. Maybe get some sleep sometime. Alright, so over to the code. I don't have any code up. Let's go over to the UI. UI mechanic code. That was not what I meant to click. UI mechanic. There. Alright, so inside of here I've got the input action, which is this one. That's pause menu. That's not what I'm looking at. Mechanic menu. Let's drag that over here. Not as it's... There, that's better. Alright, where are my actions? Input actions. We have a cancel action input, so we already have this. Now I want to be able to trigger it and escape the state we're in. To begin with, that state is just going to be exit. As soon as we press it, it just exits the menu. So let's try that one out. The cancel button, where are you? Action input, cancel action input. Okay. Cancel action input. Now, where is it being used? Nowhere. It's deactivated right now. Okay, so on this one, we need a cancel action. And we're going to put the same thing on the other side after we create the menu, or create the method, which, there we go. Now for the cancel, I could use other functions to tie into it, but I don't think I need to. Is this an object or it's a struct? All right, so I'm going to create the same one, Control C, and just down here. Private void cancel action, and this is going to be the one so we can call it internally as well because I don't need that context on there. Void. And in this one, we're going to call the same thing, cancel action. All right, cancel action when we are in here should just hide the UI. Hide UI. We also need to remove the cancel action from cancel action. All right, that right now I think will solve that first problem. So let me go try and make sure that works. All right. Control P. All right, now enter, select, I can press enter to exit there. Let's also go back into this And if I press enter on another one, it doesn't let me get into there. But if I press Z, the cancel button, it gets me up immediately. All right, so that one works. Stop. Now I need to know what area I'm manipulating. And right now inside of this, I do have 3 areas to manipulate. So I've got the top area, this is the default. So these are my options. Then once I'm in here, I can, the second area is selecting one of these values. So I can hit one of these to, or select 1, 2, 3, and 4. I could get rid of this one and just have it be the cancel button. Okay, I'll leave it in there so we can still manually select it and go back. But for now, I do need to switch selection. So once I go into this, I need to switch the selection state. So I've got a path. I don't think I need that. What is it? Mechanics menu. Scroll up. What information do I have? Selection path. Do I even use this? I set it, but I don't use it anywhere. So in this case, I already know what my selected option is. It's not like I really need the path. I need an enumerator that's going to tell me which one of these levels I'm in. Right now, I only have 2 levels. I thought it was 3, but still, let's go with public enum selection level. And inside of here, we have top options equals 0 and fine detail tuning. Details of option 1. All right, that gives us what we're doing. We need a variable to hold this, so public selection level options. I'll go with that one. Public selection level. What did that just do? Okay, so we've got a selection level. By default, that's going to go over to top options. That's fine. Selection path, I do not need. When I press enter, or when I select an item, I do need to change the focus. So let's start with that. Where is this? UI selection move? No. We're looking at the enter key. Show UI, cancel, hide UI, show UI. None of those are the parts I'm looking for. Click selection, this one. So we've clicked into a selection. The first thing we need to do here is check which selection we're in. So if, right now, all of this stuff is for the default top selection. So if this dot selection level equals top options, then we're going to we'll respond to this in kind. Okay, this one's going to have the most intelligence as to how it needs to interact. Oh, no, because yeah, it does, because we click a selection, we're on a button, some of them need to interact differently. Okay, so we've selected something, this one just goes into the stuff. Otherwise, we have selected an item and we should be drilling into that. So if we didn't hide the UI and return out of this, then we need to focus on what we're doing. So that one is change the visibility. So first off, we need to, we'll keep the selection on the main selection option that we chose. Next, now I need to bring focus down to the options below. In this case, I need to have those options, but let's make sure that I can actually interact with this. So the move option, what I can move, that's also going to change. All right, so when I click selection, if we are in the top options, then I want to say hide UI, no. In this case, I want to say the options. We're going to select lower panel. Begin lower panel. All right. Alt enter, because this might have a few things going on. I don't want its state to be all held inside of this function. The lower panel needs, we're going to set the option focus. So this dot selection level equals, and we're going to go to details of options. I guess in this case, we'll just call it lower panel. You don't have a rename option here? Yes. Okay, so we set the focus to the lower panel. Now I need to choose which buttons are in there that I'm paying attention to. Did I ever get those buttons? I do. Okay, so I've got the detail image, which I don't need to interact with. I've got the interaction ones, which is pay label, title label, and tuning label. That's to set the, that's not the interactions. Let's go back over to here, and now I've got, what are these ones? I don't need the options. Can I focus back? Thank you. All right. So down in here, we have the pay label. That is, I did need to set text, but that is also what I'm reacting to, or one of the things I'm highlighting. The other ones, we have this image, which is the less reduce image, reducer, and increaser. Okay, and what's this one? F2 returner. Lovely names. Probably could come up with something much better, but I am not concerned with that at this time. Let's go back over to the code, adjust this so that I can see the panel over here and see what these items are called, because I also need the reducer, increaser, and returner. Let's get them. Where are these fields? These fields are currently up here. Public input, not input action reference. Label, this one. Private. And what do we have? We have image reducer, private image increaser, private image returner. All right. Tuning label is never set or gathered. Wait, why are these ones? I've not used them anywhere. Why do these ones have highlight and this one does not? It's assigned, but its value is never used. How about these ones that are never used nor assigned? I wonder why those don't get any special highlight. All right, so inside of here, we're gathering the variables. We gathered tuning, now we need to get reducer. So let's grab the rest. Control CVVV. Tuning label. One more. All right, reducer. Control C, Control V, Control V. Increaser, Control C, Control V, Control V. Returner. And all of these should be image. Okay, now I have all the different items in here. I'm not using any yet. At this point, I do need to be. It's not that I can actually select them, it's not that I can actually click on them with the mouse. Maybe that option should come later, but I'm not concerned with it. Right now, I am concerned with being able to operate this off of a gamepad. Now, inside the code, I've got move selection. I need to highlight the default move. So right now, this is UI move selection move. UI selection move does need to do a check on this. If, what one is this? What did I call it? If selection level. Top options. Okay, so we can only move around in the top options. I should change the focus color. I should change the focus color if I am dropping down to the other layer, or bring focus into it, I guess. That's probably a better option. Select current top. Okay, so that takes care of our selection. Over here we create this selection level, we set it to what we want. Now we need to bring focus to a particular item. We need to know which item we're going to be working with. And right now there are a few, so I'm going to put this by, let's create an enum for the types that we have here. Public enum lower level options. Following the same pattern, we're going to say selection lower selection level options. Naming still kind of sucks here. Okay, so now I need to know what are the options that I can pick. The first one is an array, but these ones are specific. So inside of this one, the ones I can interact with include the reducer, the increaser, the returner, and the pay label. So first option is pay. No, what's going to be the default? The default should be the, let's go with the increaser. Pay. Zero. All right, pay equals 0. Reduce equals 1. Increase equals 2. And return equals 3. Okay, so we've got a lower level state. No, we don't have it. We just have the options. All right, so now public lower level selection. Lower selection. And to start out with, we will go with pay. Click selection. There we go. Now, this dot lower selection equals, and let's go with, make sure it's set to pay. So the default option when we select a lower panel is to go to pay, not to use whatever the previous one was. We'll use a constant setup to get around. So this dot lower selection, I need something to highlight the options. So let's go with highlight lower. Let's also do this unhighlight lower. All right, so inside of this we got highlight lower, which is supposed to take the currently selected item. This one is supposed to take whatever was selected there and make sure it's not highlighted, which right now is just a color option. So let's make sure we have what the color options are supposed to be. The images we need to set. Let's go find out what the. I wish Unity would allow me to continue to interact with stuff while the code is changing, but I understand why it doesn't. It does a debug, not a debug. It serializes the state of everything, and then it recompiles. It puts in the new compiled assemblies, getting rid of the old ones, and he deserializes all the state back into it, which means that if I have any scripts that are influencing any part of this stuff for the designers or whatever, then that's going to get messed up. It's going to lose any of the changes that I make. And that would be bad. But I also have zero code that is manipulating this particular system, the UI builder. So why is the UI builder frozen from doing this? That's something I'd love to have Unity resolve better. All right, so inside of this, what do we got? Bottom selection. We got the information that we need. Over here, this is a label. It does have, oh, the label has a background picture. I'm also going to need that one. All right, well, let's make sure I can start interacting with these things. So I'm already able to set the data. Oh, I'm going to need to get the information for each one of these. So what I show in there is the state. It's going to store what I have for the maximum and then also what my current value is. And I suppose most of those should come in as integers, but then the car actually has other features that are better not as an integer. So conditioning, like transfer X to Z, boost cap. I'll have to put these ones in. But okay, yeah, that's pretty much just integers. So I could use integers even though the final value is a float. All right, this stuff. Oh, here we go. 2-axis force multiplier, 3-axis force multiplier. That's more of just getting the controls to work right, not something that the user should have any reason to manipulate. Okay, XY force, XYZ force, those ones, yes. Same thing again, 2 and 3-axis multiplier doesn't really matter that much. Distance for engine offsets. Yeah. If I reduce those numbers, then it actually can make the engine work better closer to the ground. It brings it closer to the ground, but that also can be a problem. However, if you're increasing your other numbers, you'll likely want to be able to reduce those ones, even if you can purchase to go up. Wow. All right, let's start with the first one, pay label. Pay label has a background image tint. And that's what we're affecting with this. So we need the we need the tint colors. We need lower unselected and lower selected color. Public color lower unselected selected lower color equals color dot. And what do I have here for the color? I think I just picked something at random. So let's do from hexadecimal. All right, yeah. How do I get a color from hexadecimal? I'm pretty sure I can just pass that in. It's like and H or something. Hexadecimal in C sharp. Hexadecimal in C sharp. No. Okay. N64. No. No, this is not what I want. Is there a way to write this? Okay, let's drag this over. Is there a way to write numbers in hex in C sharp, hard coded? Like I can write a byte value directly. Isn't it like there's an X in front of it usually? So I know, okay, no, I know that I've used this. Oh, wait, is this it? 0x? So if I say new color and inside of here, I guess I could just put the float values in. Whatever, I'm actually setting these ones, so it doesn't really matter. In this one, I'll just pick them again. Color dot, those ones were manually selected. This one is not. So the selected color, we're going to go with something sort of brightish, but not too brightish. I need to be able to see the text that's on top of it. What color was the font? Okay, black for the font. This one's white, but I'm not manipulating the background of it. The other ones are, so it's dark. All right, so selected should be bright, not too bright. Beige. Okay. Public color unselected, lower color. So if we are unselected, then I need something gray. Dark gray. Sure. Okay, so now I need to set all the initial values of these. So we've just got them. Now we need to set the background colors. So pay label. Pay label is a label. So that one has what was it? A background image. Pay label dot background dot style dot background color. Is there like a tint? Okay, tinting the color for the element's background image. That one. All right. equals, and this one is supposed to be selected, unselected, lower color. So we're going to put these all here by default. The next one that's in here, what do we have? We have pay label, not the title, the tuning label. No, those are not changed for color. Reducer. Now, reducer.style, what is this one? This one is just an image. So the image should have a tint color built in. Dot style dot tint. It's not the background image. Dot color. I guess maybe it's color in this one. Okay, I'll try it. Unselect lower color. The other one, increaser equals increaser dot style dot color equals unselected unselected lower color. And what's the last one? Returner dot style color equals unselected lower color. Okay, so everything is initially set to what I need. Let's also grab this information over here. All right, so unhighlight lower. Done. Now, to highlight the lower, we need to know exactly which one we are interacting with. So I'm going to put all of these in here, and I'm going to put an if condition around this. So if lower selection, I need to know which item we are selecting in the current lower level. How do I know which one? I'm pretty sure I created an integer. Lower level option. Lower level selection option, which is lower selection. Good. If lower selection equals, and what's the first one? Pay label. Pay. And then this one equals selected color. If, and we're going to do the same thing for the rest of these. Let's get rid of this. Selected, selected, and selected. Okay, the next one is reduce, increase, and return. Okay, so we highlight the one that we want to show in there. So when I select this, I should be able to have it automatically go back. Now it should go to pay. Pay should be the default. That's 0, right? Yes. Okay, let's just test this out, make sure that the code works. Because that was a decent amount of code to get to this point in consideration. So back to Unity. Play. All right, enter, enter, enter. Oh, it highlighted it. Okay. Now, when I'm moving the arrow keys, I can't exit out of there. However, cancel, if I hit Z, that'll get me out of the menu. So enter. Now, what state am I in? State has been maintained, so I do need to be able to exit this. All right, good. We got some stuff going on inside of here. So cancel action, right now we just hide UI. I need to do that a little bit differently. So if, or I just need some additional steps in here. We are going to hide the UI no matter what, and it doesn't matter if we hide it early. We're still going to need to change these values. So first off, unhighlight lower. Second off, selection level equals top options. Selection index. Selected top index equals 0. Okay, so I believe this puts us right back at the beginning state that we were in. Because right now there was no exit from this. Let's go test that out back in the code. Did I save that all? All right, Control P. Let's try it. All right, enter, enter. Okay, Z. Now let's enter again. Okay, it's left the other one highlighted. I need to unhighlight the current selection that's in here. Okay, so in stop, where's the code? Stop. I need to unhighlight the top one. So what is that one? It's just unhighlight or something? Highlight lower, unhighlight lower. Okay. How am I selecting the top one? So when I do a move, that's supposed to show the UI for it. So where's the move function? Okay, so UI selection move, select current top. Okay, that's where we're doing it. So we've got unselect current top there. Now, when I set this up, do I select the current top when I initially come in? Select current top. That's during the awake function. Perfect. So now when we exit out of here, no. Cancel action. That puts us back into a default state. Control S and back into the game. Control P. Okay, we recommend that you use an audio stream bitrate of 128. Maybe my audio is not coming through very well. I haven't tried listening to it on the final products of any of these streams. Enter. Okay, so I've got impulse strafe selected, and this is to drive sideways faster. Impulse, oh, I can't, that's right, I can't exit out of it. So Z, and now enter again. Impulse strafe is still what's selected down there, and nothing was highlighted at the top. So I do need to change the selection index. Okay, now at this point, I need to select current top. That puts this selection back on the proper one, and because I'm selecting it, it should highlight the stuff underneath. So when I select it, F12, this sets the labels and information down below. Perfect. I think that's everything. Stop, clear, Control P. That's kind of interesting. Now that I've gotten rid of hot reload, it feels like the builds are faster. Like I think hot reload was doing more in detection cost to see what's going on, but I'm not positive. Okay, so now I've got that selected. No arrow keys in here yet, of course. Inside of this, now we need F12. F12. Oh, no, not F12, Z. Okay, now enter again. It's back to the exit. It's just like nothing ever happened. Enter. All right, cool. Okay, so I can escape out of it. Let's save the project. I need terminal up. Let's just go to here. Right click, show and explore. Now right click on the folder, open in terminal. All right, now git dot git commit dash m. Let's see. Lower mechanic selection can exit to game to play to drive and select. First that one can select to focus on lower and exit to drive on cancel. All right, git push. I'm really feeling like replacing git or writing something or taking a look at more serious look at some of the other options. This project is about 5.5 gigs, and with git, it's taking up 24 gigs on my hard drive. And so, because it keeps a full local history. So if you got like a 70 gig project, you might very well have 100 gigs or more taken on your project, on your actual folder. Now I know that there's some options to reduce that, for one, deleting history, or just retaining a lower amount of history, but that can screw with the way that Git works depending on what you're trying to do. But I also have a different asset organizer I want to build, and that might take the focus after I'm done with this. There's too many times in this one that I want to deal with it because I don't need 5.5 gigs of content in here. I need like 300 megs, and that should give me everything that I need. But I had to add a 4.5 gig uh, asset bundle in order to get a lot of the models in here, of which I am using like 1% of. All right, so now what have we got? And we got that one saved. That's committed. What's next on this? I now need to be able to move around which item I have selected. I don't need to do anything with them yet. So let's go inside of here, UI Builder. Oh, it's the arrow keys. So back over in the code, I need the move code. Selection, UI selection. Oh, I'm up in the awake now. There we go. Here's where we're deciding whether or not to move. So in this one, we're detecting the move state. Since this same code is now needed in 2 different locations, I feel like I should evaluate this one. We have selected top index. Do I have any? I have ones that go in kind of awkward states, so I guess in this case, I'm really just, they're going to react differently. So in this one, let's find out what we need. In either one, if no movement happened, or if it equals the previous V, then it doesn't matter. So let's get rid of that. Let's just put this code here, Control X, and put this at the top, Control V. Okay, that takes care of our previous selection. The next one, we are detecting whether or not anything moved. we don't care if anything, if nothing moved, we don't care about any of this at all. So if this will be better as this one, v equals vector 2.0, then return. That gets rid of this one as well. Did I put this in both? I did. Okay, the selection level is currently selecting at the top level. Now we're going to check if we are in the lower level. If this dot selection level equals lower panel. All right, what's next? So if we are selected inside of here, now the first thing I want to do is unselect. Unhighlight. Unhighlight lower. Okay, so that removes whatever item we have selected. Now I need to determine what our value is. So we want to know if the value has changed. How am I determining that? We read the move, we're detecting what this change is. Yeah, the previous V cuts out when for all the repeat frames where it's the same setup. Now that I've got this one, we've got X and Y, so which one do we have selected? The item that we have selected is based on this value here. So let's put in some conditions. Control C, paste. If lower selection equals dot pay, that one only reacts to X plus 1. Okay, so actually in this one, I just need an AND condition. So AND lower selection not what I'm looking for. So lower selection. Lower selection, that's what I'm working with. Okay, so we're on pay, and now I need to know if the move includes moving over to the side. Okay. So that one is v dot x is greater than 0. Then lower selection equals lower selection reduce. Okay. Else if lower selection equals, and the next one is reduce. We can go two directions on this one, so let's put the if condition inside of here. Yeah. Lower selection. Now, if v dot x is greater than 0 and v dot y is greater than 0, then we're going to say lower selection equals lower selection dot. So in this case, we're going over and down. So we want to go diagonally, and that is to this label, the return label. Return. I guess, no. Let's keep it simpler. We'll keep the same stable reaction because right now the keys on how this one reacts is not perfect yet. V.x, if it's greater than 0, then we go to pay. If it's greater than 0, not pay. If it's less than 0, then the lower selection equals pay. We're going back to pay. Otherwise, lower selection. Oh, that was it. Else if v dot y x is greater than 0, then lower selection equals lower selection dot increase. And finally, else if v dot y is greater than 0, then lower selection equals return. Oh, not equals. This is just one on each one. Else if lower selection dot increase. All right, so lower select level options increase if we are on the increase button. And in this case, we have two options we can go with, down and back. So I'm just going to put these ones in, Control C, and I can change things out. Enter, get rid of that. Okay, so now in this one, if the x is less, then we're going to go to decrease, reduce. All right, if it's over, then we're not going to do anything. If it goes the other way, and now if the y increases, we're going to drop down to the return function. Okay. And finally, if the lower selection equals return. That's what we're looking for. Okay, yes. So if the lower selection equals reduce or return, then if we go back that way, the lower selection should go to reduce. Otherwise, if we go the other direction, greater than, I've probably got my greater than and less than for the y in the wrong direction. I feel like I always get that one backwards. Like it feels like positive should go up sometimes depending on how you're looking at it. Sometimes top pixel is in the screen, but when you're talking about world coordinates, then up is usually positive. So we've got two different potential states that the vector 2 could be used in, or the y-axis could be used in. I think in this case we're going down, but I usually don't retain that to memory very well. Okay, so now if we are going up, if it's greater than 0, if it's less than 0, we're going up, I think. In this case, then we are going to go back to, let's check for diagonals on this one. No, I'll just give it an option. In this case, we return to what? If we go that way, then we reduce. If we go this way, we increase. Worst case, I'll have to come in and change a value. All right, and the last one is, we'll just go with reduce. Okay, let's see if these. Oh, it needs to actually highlight it so I can see what it just did. Highlight. All right, let's run the game. Why does Ryder keep thinking that the game is running when it's not? All right, enter, enter. All right, impulse. These ones should be getting highlighted. Oh, that's right. The color setting on these is not necessarily the correct thing I'm looking for. This one is an image. These ones are, no, these ones are images. This one is a label. I could change these over to labels and just have no text and put the background in, but I just need to find out how to change the color of it in real time. All right, and the code I was depending on did not do it. Let's try the highlight tint that it was having that was on a different for a different value. So highlight lower. I just need to see that it works. So where's my if statements? Highlight. There it is. Highlight lower. And right now I'm doing style.color. But this one is for an image, which you would think that the color would be for the image mask, but it doesn't appear to be. So color, it's not background color. Maybe it is background color. Let's go with background image tint color, because it is an image tint color that I want to be affecting, but it's not for the background. This is for the image itself, which maybe that's all it is. Let's try this. Control C, Control V, V. Same thing for all of them? Oh, V, V, V. Stop the code. Play. Oh, no, wait. I got an error. What is that? Map view, object reference. Oh, that should be fine. I thought that was a compilation error. All right. Again, not selecting anything. But I can get back to this, which indicates to me that I am getting all the way over. So I can reselect. Enter doesn't do anything from right now. But I haven't been able to set what these colors are. Okay. This is in Unity's new UI system. All right, let's bring out an editor, or bring out a search query. Unity. Which one is this one? This is UI Builder. New UI system. I wish they gave it a different title than New UI. Like when they did the particle system, they called it Shuriken, or Shuriken was the older one, or whatever. But New UI system, I mean, have they never had another change from their UI systems? But give it another title or term that we can refer to it as to make searching easier, because this feels weird typing in New UI system. But if I don't include it and I just say UI system, that's too generic, and a lot of the search engines don't pull that information up very well. All right, so inside of this one, we have an image, set mask color from C#. Manual apply styles. Well, there's background style. No, I want images. This is just generic style information, not what I'm looking for. Okay, what do you say it is? Color is mask color. Okay. So we get the image. We've got the image, IMG. Tint color. It's not a style. Okay, got it. why did they make a special case for the background color, for the background tint image color in the style settings? But then when it's for the image, it puts the tint color not in styles. However, that was from an AI response, so who knows if it's actually correct. Let's go try it and see what it selects and it says instead of style. So this one is dot tint. There's nothing tint about. Oh, that's the wrong one. That one does work for what we were trying to do. This is the one that's supposed to have tint. Why did they make a distinction there for background color gets that? That doesn't make any sense. Like, this is nice. It makes sense for here, but okay. Oh, that also means I need to change these ones. Control V, Control V, and Control V. All right, that's in place. Return to Unity. Stop the code. I will likely have a couple errors here from stopping the code. Yes, and now start. Oh, Control P. All right, start, enter, impulse drive. Okay, I can highlight stuff now. Oh, I can't get to the bottom, to the return label. Oh, wait, if I press up, I have my Y's reversed. All right, that's fine. Let's go fix that. Stop. Selection, selection. So in this case, the Y is reversed. Do I have both of these? Oh, no, right here. Put that one to less. Y, put that one to less. And put this one to greater. Okay, so in this case, a Y greater than 0 is up. Okay. Y greater than 0 is up, which matches more towards whatever. Let them keep their orientations. This should fix it so it feels better in game. Play. Enter, enter. Okay, go into here. I can select the different items. There. I can also select these. It moves around as I expect it. Okay, but I can't do anything from here. And if I hit Z, it backs me out of the whole thing. Now, Z is supposed to be my cancel. It'll map out to one of the keys on here, like X on the gamepad. All right, stop. So now let's go to the exit functionality. So inside of here, where do we exit? Exit, exit, exit. Begin lower, click selection. Okay, where's my functionality for this? Oh, it's going to be in select UI, show UI. Cancel. Okay, this is it right here, cancel. This one right now is determining that I am inside of the top layer. So let's set the if selection level equals, and then this is the top options. Then inside of this one, we want to clear out the options. So over here at this point, if we are able to exit from this spot, if we are in the top options, that means our lower options shouldn't have anything selected. So I don't need to unhighlight lower. Let's put an else statement in here. I'm going to need this stuff down here too. So else if selection level equals lower panel. Let me drag all this stuff over there as well. Control C. and paste it in here. I can remove the different things. So on the lower level, I'm not going to hide the one. I'm not going to unselect the current top. I'm not going to reset the selection level. Oh, I am resetting the selection level to top options. I am not resetting the selected index. Select current top is already done. So technically that should be there. We unhighlight the lower because we're not working in the lower section anymore. And we select, after we unhighlight the lower, now we need to say what is the default. No, when we go into it, we set the default at that time. We set the selection level back to the top, so we should be able to move around. In this one, we are in the top level and we have hit the cancel button. That one should take us back to UI. Okay, so we're in the top level. We hide the UI. We unhighlight lower is not necessary anymore. Unselect the current top. Yes. Okay, and select the current top after changing the index. Yes. And Control X, Control V. Got it. Okay. This should operate for the selections properly. The actual clicking to purchase something or to upgrade, that's not going to work. Control S, Shift S, Alt Enter, and Control P. Why does it feel like I spend more time doing UI work than actual physics? Okay, I've got these items. Now press Z. Okay, I can now reselect different items in here. Let's go enter. This lets me select stuff. Now, pressing enter on this button should be one of the first reactions because I go to this one and it should be to clear my way back out. But I only have a couple states in this, so this shouldn't be too difficult to work with. The action button, show you why. Where's the action button? That's selection move. Selection move, I believe, is done now. Click selection. This is the selection one. We right now have, if the view data key is on exit, but that's only when we're on the high level. We also need the low level. Else if selection level equals selection level options dot lower level. 2 equals. Excuse me. All right, so instead of this, what I've got, move that over to current. Thank you. Wait a minute. Where am I? I'm not in this video feed at all. What? The camera is... What is the camera doing? Hey, NVIDIA broadcast. What are you doing? Yeah, you're up there. Isn't anything using this? Can that be seen? Hello, here I am. Okay, I don't need to see that one right now. What is... That's getting its camera from NVIDIA broadcast and it's still messed up. If I select it this way, then this shows up inside the camera, the stream feed, but that's not what I'm going for. All the background is visible. So now let's try putting it back. Properties, go over to, just move this over, go over to NVIDIA broadcast. Transparent me, yeah, or transparent background, yay. Okay. I don't know why that disappeared. That was Really weird. Okay, whatever. Cool. All right. Now, inside of the selection level, we need to check to see what we just pressed the action key. So we need to know what we're on. One of them is super easy, and that one is if our lower selection. So if this dot selection dot lower selection equals return, then in this case we want to return to the previous state. Now, returning to the previous state wasn't super straightforward. There were a couple different things that could happen along the way. So cancel action, for instance. I guess it really only needs to do these two things, but that should be a separate function since I need to have that marked out. So let's say private void uh, exit from lower selection. And let's put the functions in there. Exit to lower selection, exit from lower selection. That's what I'm looking for. Now back up into the code I was just working in. Is that this one? Yeah. Exit from lower selection and return. We have nothing else to check in this. Okay, now the other ones, we just spend stuff if we can. So do we have the credits for something? Right now, if we have the credits for it, I'll just take the credits away. Should I do a check? I need access to how much money we have. So this one is, aside from perhaps the save system, is the most invasive one that we have. No, not even the save. No, the save system's going to need to know all this stuff too. All right, so lower selection. So what items are we getting from the locator? Nothing. Oh, no, there we go. We've got the save load system. We got game time. We also need the pay system or credit system. Yeah, we need the credit system. Why do we need the time? What do we actually use the time for? We pause the game. That's what we're doing. Okay, we need to pause the game. So yeah, okay, we need access to game time. Okay, so then we do need one other section. That is the payment system or the credit system, whatever I call it, credit manager, something like that. Where are the values for this? Game time, there. Private. I credit manager. Credit. All right, now in the locator service, locator.observe I credit manager CM, and this one's going to be this dot credit equals CM. Okay, right now I will accept it to reduce even if it goes into the negative because then I can save it. I can still see that that value is getting interacted with, and I'll put the filter on it later. I have nothing in here to edit how much credit or to give myself like mass credit as the editor or programmer, but I can add something or go edit the file pretty easily. So we got the credit. Now that we've got the credit in here, that means we could, oh yeah, we can handle buying something. So if we're in the lower panel and we return, then we exit from the lower section. That would be reasonable enough to test, but let's also test the payment system right now. If this dot lower selection equals pay the increase value, the increase settings and reduce settings, those ones are much harder to set. All right, so this dot lower selection, the purchase one is much easier. So inside of this one, we're going to say this dot. Okay, so we've pressed enter while we are on the pay option. In that case, it should reduce credit from what we have at the top. So credit dot remove credit. And the credit that we're removing, we need to know which item we're interacting with. That's based on the current lower selection. No, the upper selection. So how do I get that one? It is options. Let's get the option for this one because I need to know what we're working with. If we clicked return on this and we're not part of this, if we're not exiting out of it, then that means we do need to know the option info. So this one is var option equals, and this one is options. It's selected option info. And inside of here, I need index, selected top index. See, a lot of these I would build into separate functions and try to organize this a lot better, but this is the first pass through of it, so I don't necessarily even know what that structure is supposed to look like yet. So yeah, my code is going to be messy. And that's fine. At some point when I do another version of this, I will probably recreate it in a different way off of the learnings that I have this time to organize it better from the start. I could have spent more time to do that up front, but that's not the point of this one. The point of this one is get it built. Okay, remove credit, and from that one I need option dot cost. Okay, so we remove the credit from us. So to begin with, all of the items are 100 for their credit. Next, we need to increase our value. So option dot, and what is our peak? Our peak needs to go plus equals option dot cost. Not cost, upgrade. So the peak is our current cap. That's the maximum we can go to. The upgrade is how much that metric is going to go up. This does not change the tuning of the actual car. It just gives us more options or more range to tune. Okay, so this dot lower selection lowers select level options pay. Option peak plus equals option upgrade. Okay, well, right now I should see the fact that my cost, my credit has gone down. Now I could do the same thing, or with the tuning. Can I change the values? What is this one? It doesn't hold the current value. That one I have to obtain from the car physics. I think, yeah, let's just test this as is. Okay, Control Shift S, return back to the gameplay. Right there, stop. All right, Control P. This is incredibly close to being playable, like have the final play. However, it's going to need polishing as well after this. Okay, so impulse. Now I'm going to pay 100. I have 100 credits up here and I'm going to pay 100. So enter. Okay, it's taking away the credits from my character and should be increasing the peak value, though I cannot see what that is right now. That's supposed to show up over here where the label is. Let's go this way and enter to return to other ones. Okay, that's good. Stop. When I start again, I'll still be at positive 100. I think I will, because I think it's there was nothing in that. No, as soon as I enter the mechanics, I just made changes. I bought something that should have also saved the changes. So enter, that brings up the world load. Uh, I go into this and it's supposed to save. Now I'm also supposed to, anytime I make a change in here, that's also supposed to save the game. So let's stop the code. And back in this one, once we do whatever it is we're doing in here, if we make an actual change, like this one, we just made a change. Now we need, what is it? The save system, save load system, which that should also be another, yeah, that's another system I need to interact with. Save load, I've got access to it. Okay, perfect. Because I'm already interacting with it. What's that? All right, save load. We've got the save load system that's in there. Now, on this one, we're going to go to this dot save load dot save game dot save. That's it. Oh, and return. I don't need that to do anything else in there. So we set the pay, we save it, we return. Good. So we've now saved this state. Let's go back into the game and make sure it actually saves what we're doing. Play. Still compiling. All right, enter. That brought us in at 100. Now we're going to go buy something. We're at negative 500. And now let's go Z. That gets us back out. Yeah, okay, I should stop. And this should return me. The car should be at the exact same location. And so when I run it again, credit is initially 0, but then it should go to negative 500 when I press start. Negative 500. Okay, we've got that in there. Stop. Save that completely. And where is get? Get dot get commit dash m. And inside of this one, get commit, what did we just do? We just saved? No. Pay now buys upgrades. Technically, that part's complete because the UI, what it's going to show, is going to be something handled separately. Okay, so pay now buys upgrades. Saving the state. Oh, it doesn't have a limiter preventing you from buying when you can't afford. All right, get push. So let's put in one more change there. In this one, if we don't have the options, let's check to see. Public, no. If credit does not, if credit dot, credit just returns how much we've got. Sure. If credit dot credit is less than option dot cost, then at this point we don't do anything. I'm just going to have it return. Ideally, this should have additional things. This is a part of the polishing phase where I come in and I say, hey, there's nothing signaling to the user that it does this. We should blink put a blink on the cost or blink on the pay, like blink the panel red and blink the cost item in red. So both of those indicate that, hey, something was wrong here and the cost section doesn't have enough to cover it. but technically that's not part of this task right now. All right, now let's go take a look at Asana for a second. I want to double check. Where did Asana go? Shows the buy option. Technically, this stuff all changed. So given the fact that this has changed, I'm now going to set I'm just going to delete those and start rewriting them as I'm putting them in. So UI can resume at any point. Yes, UI shows up-down list of editable, like UI shows list of editable options like gravity, force, engine power, speed. Now it's not complete. I'm going to be putting more in there. So technically that one's not complete, but I'll leave that as is. It does show the list. It does show the list. I don't have all the details. Okay. Now in this one, purchase deducts credit. Purchase deducts credit, saves upgrade. Upgraded peak. This doesn't save any of the peaks yet. The save game needs to get the peak. Okay, so there is an alteration to make to the save game, but that is going to need some additional information. You know what? I might as well get it started. The save game does need to have knowledge that comes back out over into this system. So where is the pause menu? No. Save. Car storage data. Is that where I'm actually retaining this information? No. No, I'm not. It's in the mechanic menu. The mechanic menu is currently holding the state data for this, not car storage data. Like ideally that could all be organized in a different way, but it didn't really matter. I needed a spot to hold on to it. So for now, let's just get rid of these because I don't want to get confused by it. Control KC. Those are now gone. Nothing else should be using it. There shouldn't be any complaints sitting in here for that. All right, so next, what do I have? I need the save load system. During the save load system, what have we got here? That's the load. Let's go to save. Okay, so in the save, I now need to pull up the information from the mechanics menu. That has all sorts of detailed information that I need. So I need access to the mechanics menu. So credit menu, let's start adding another item. Public. Do I have the mechanic menu being added to locator? Yes, I do. Mechanic menu. Perfect. Mechanic menu. Mechanic. Now let's add this. All right, so now we have the mechanic menu in place for the save system. The save system needs to have access to this information, so I'm going to move these things over a little bit. This one should be part of this list. Okay, next. Game time. Game time? No, save load system. I just dragged this file over here. Why do you think I wanted it over here? So that I could actually have focus on it. All right, let's see. Invalid name. No, that part's done. What do we have? Load, save load, clear freight. Okay, you know what? I'm getting annoyed by keeping this reference in here because I did literally copy paste it. And I do appreciate that Stack Overflow puts that stuff in there. Um, but in this case, return name, because we're getting the name of the file, and we need to find out, does it actually have any of the invalid characters? Invalid characters comes from path.getInvalidCharacters. So I can just compare against that list to see what's in there, and that should work against whatever operating system I push that into. So dot index of any path.getInvalid path characters, and if it equals -1, then it's true. It is a valid name. So I have rewritten that code myself by scratch, by understanding what the core problem of it was. That makes it so I can get rid of the initial comment in this case. It's kind of a weird state when you think about this, that we have a section where it just matches exactly what was inside it. And even if I copy or type it in manually, is that actually copying the original code? Because this is exactly what the code was written for. Like, it was written so you could have a list of get invalid characters, and they probably even had the intent that you would pair it up with string.index of any to be able to compare it and get that. Anyway, so is valid name, we've got is valid name in there. The save, create the save game, we need to gather all the variables that we are saving inside of this. So let's go to, how would I store this information? I need the save state. There's the save game. Okay, so inside of this, I'm going to create a public list. And in this one, we need to know the peak values and the current values. So public list float. And this one is peaks, mechanic peaks equals new, and public list float mechanic current equals new. So now I have a place to store each one of those. Now I'm going to say for int I equals 0 to I is less than, and in this case I need the mechanic dot, and now I need the list, which is an array of not the selection fields. Not, oh, wait, selection fields? Option info, yes, this is it. Dot length I plus plus. Okay, so we're going through each one of those ones, and the IDs will just match them up. The IDs that they're saved over to the save game versus the index that they're compared against in here. So in this one, I'm now going to say mechanic. I'm also adding them in order, so I can just add them. So now, mechanic, not mechanic, this one is save game. It's called game dot mechanic peaks dot capacity mechanic peaks dot add. That's what I'm looking for. And now I need the actual value, which is mechanic dot options, option info, and in brackets I need I dot peak. Okay, now the other one, the current, that is the one where it's going to be much more difficult. So I'm going to say if I equals 0, not I, what am I looking for? It is, I need the actual option. So let's grab the option. var option equals, and let's grab the option from here. That'll make it easier. Option. So now if option dot, and I have an enumerator up here. So dot type equals, and in this one, if we have it exit, then uh, we ignore it. In fact, in this case, we will ignore it right away. No, I still want the IDs to match up with all of them. The thing is that each one of these potential options have custom information about where that needs to be located from in the service. Unless I manage that over here in not the save game, the option info. Selection level option. This one, selection field. So over here, we've got the peak. What if this also retained the current? It would be able to get the current because it has a function in it where you pass the car physics. And then that returns what the current value is. Okay, I like that. That'll deal with a lot of it because at the times where I need to know the peak and I need to know the other values and I need to print it and I need to save it, I have access to this information. But having to look that up in multiple different places is going to be a pain in the butt. So let's go over to here and I'm going to create a new function, public float get current, get set current. So current, and this one is a property, get set. So it doesn't serialize, but I can at least pass that information over. So get, and down here we have set. Okay, so first off, get, if, this is where we have to do case statements for each one of these now. Current does need to know the car. So in this case, this should be a function, not a property. Yeah, okay, it does need to be a function. Get current. Capital get, capital set. Okay. Get value. Get current, whatever. I can change this stuff later. To begin with, I need to, it relates to this particular object, but I do need the car. So the car is by reference already. I don't need to call out any of that. But what was it? It was player car, car race, not car race. This one is the actual car that I need. Player car. What is player car? That's just car, right? It's car that I need. Okay, I can just put that in there anyway. Car, car. Public void set current. Car, car. Hmm. Okay, so public float get current set current. All right. I can start setting each one of these out here to begin with. So if, in this case, we're going to switch case based on, so let's do a switch. That seems reasonable in this case. Whatever, we're returning it every single step on this. So if car dot, nope, if type equals exit, return 0. If type equals selection field exit, and now this one, oh yeah, we do nothing, then we just return. Okay, good. Now we need the other fields in here. So if type equals, and this is selection field.impulse drive, then we return car dot, and now I need, which one is this? Impulse drive, that is impulse forward. Let's set these other ones, Control C, VV. Dot strafe dot torque. Car dot impulse strafe and car dot impulse torque. Now these ones are going to be about the same, so we're just going to do ifs, Control C and V. Now that I've got these, we are not returning anything, we are setting the value. So delete, delete, delete equals if we're setting it, we need a value. Float value. Car equals value equals value and equals value. With every one of these, I should have an early exit on it. Yeah, whatever. This is minor. This is a save state. It is a user interaction, and having something happen where the computer takes like a half a second longer for the frame, while not the best experience, is something still users tend to get. So I'm not as concerned when the user is making a special interaction, like we are making a change to the way the car works. Ideally, that should not be registered this way though. And that's a minor improvement I can make later. Yeah, this is just a bunch of if statements to see if a value we already have compares against a particular other float value or int value. There's not much for it to hold on to and understand. Okay, and otherwise we don't do anything because we have no other types defined. And in this one, we are going to return 0 F. If we don't know if it's for something we don't know, then we're just going to store it. And that's because we have 15 fields that we can edit and manipulate what's going to go into this. All right, now what? I need to save it. So down here, where am I? Is that where I'm saving it? Create save game. All right, so we got game. We're going through each one of the values. Yeah, this is going to make this part so much easier. So game.peak mechanics add peak and game.mechanic current dot add option dot get current. And it needs the car. Now the car is this dot player car. Yes, that's it. That obtains the value. We're able to use it just because we're going through the options. Excellent. That's going to also make it a lot easier to resolve the text display in the other part. So now that saves it. Next, we need to load it, but we can't really see these details and these changes. We might be able to feel some of them, but we can't really set or save or change them until we can display that label. We can display what our current values are. So this one should give us our ability to save it. Oh, let's go over to, what is this one? The load. And we are now going to step through the same thing, Control C. We're going to do this one in reverse. Okay, so for each one of these in the mechanic.option info, where does this happen? That load happens later. We're fine. All that stuff's prepared. Okay, load option, mechanic option. Mechanic option. We're getting the mechanic option. So yeah, we needed to go through each one of the mechanic options and we need to set what those values and fields are. All right. And this one is also going to go back and put them into the car itself. So if those changes exist, it will get put into the car. Yeah, that puts it into the actual car physics. Perfect. Okay, so we are now in the load. So we grab the option, and it's not mechanic peaks. We're going in the opposite direction. We're going to say option dot peak equals, and then we want the mechanic peak. Control C, Control V, and this is mechanic peaks I. Perfect. Time check. 140, we're good. And now we need to set the current value. So in this case, I'm going to, this setting the current value doesn't care about the mechanic record in there. No, we do, but option dot set current. It needs to know the car, and it also needs the comma game dot mechanic current I. You couldn't understand that I was in the middle of a word where that was. Visual Studio Visual Studio does the same thing. I don't get why they're able to understand that I am currently over the one titled current set current, or that the whole word is understood that that's wrong. And yet when I click on it and tell it, hey, replace it with the full word, it just injects it over. It assumes the whole word is selected when it's not. Neither one of those environments handle that, and this has been decades. All right, so option.peak, option.set current. Okay, so when we load the game, this puts the data back. When we start the game, this puts the data in it. And, oh, from this one, I need to go the opposite direction. I can't go off of the number of items in the UI. I have to go off of the number of items inside of the save game, but because I could change either one of those at any point in time. It could be an older save game going into the current one. Older save games don't have any mechanic options. So when I try to get the mechanic peaks, there will be none. Oh, well, actually, I guess that doesn't matter too much. I can just say if, what is this one? There we go. I is greater than game.mechanicpeaks.length is equal to, greater than or equal to, then continue. It will skip this one. Actually, at this point, it doesn't even have, it will just break. Okay, because we're going up. And so if we've exceeded the count that we have available, then we just exit the load at that point in time. Woohoo, done. All right, now inside of the mechanics menu, when we set and update these values, I need to refresh what is inside of the current view. So refresh label needs to be what my current task is. Inside of this one, let's create a new one somewhere. Private, void, refresh detail label. So this one needs to know what option we currently have selected. So let's get the option. Var option equals. And in this one, we need to know the selection fields. That's option info. I selected index top, or selected top index. Now that we've got the option, we have the pieces of data that we need. We also need the car. Does this one hold on to the car? Of course the mechanic system holds on to the car. Yeah, car right there. All right, so var, we have the car, and now we're going to say label. What is the label called? Pay label, title label, detail label, tuning label. That's it. Tuning label. tuning label dot text equals, and now we need the values. So the first value is going to be, this is probably going to be wildly out of place, the text overwriting, because it's not treating things as integers. Everything I'm using does act as an integer, so I could just cast it. Let's do that. Int, and inside of here I need the option dot get, not get, yes, dot get current. Get current this dot car plus, and inside of this one we have a slash plus int option dot peak. That should be it. Now, oh, something needs to call this. Every time that we do something that configures or selects something for the bottom, we need to set that. So that one gets set initially from not click selection, but move. When we move, so UI selection move, we have selected the current top. If we select the current top, let's go to F12. This one, yeah, it's right there. That's what I was expecting to set this. Okay, refresh UI current label, but this is not the only place I'm going to set this. So we're just going to call the function. Yeah, no parameters. Was it just me, or did Writer make it look like there were parameters I needed to add initially? It's suggesting like, hey, here's all this stuff you can add, but then in much tinier print, no parameters. There is no option to add anything. All right. That felt a little weird, like almost like IntelliSense shouldn't show up, or that it should be grayed out and it's indicating much more clearly or bolder that there is no option there. All right, refresh details. So that refreshes the details. Now, what's the other item? That's selection move. So we move, and that selects the current top, which is what we just did. So that selected the current top. Now I need to deal with the fact that we can purchase stuff. So that's the action key being pressed. Click selection, or click action. So inside of this one, we also need to do this. So right here, we refresh the label. And the UI is almost complete now if this works. There's just, I need to add the tuning, which is just taking the current fields and manipulating them within the values that we have available. All right, so now Control P. Enter, enter. Okay, impulse drive, 5 out of 5. Okay, impulse strafe, 500 out of 500. Impulse torque, 9 out of 9. All right, this is great. Let's go impulse torque. Let's pay to upgrade. Oh, I can't change it because I currently don't have enough credits. How do I change my credits? Let's go into the credit manager, systems, credit, credit, credit. Where is my credit? Don't I have that? Or is that being stored in the UI mechanic? Okay, UI mechanic. No, not UI mechanic. Sorry. They changed the names of this. This is a bug that's in here. Why does UI mechanic still get the original name? The other ones are all changing their names based on some option that's inside of there. So this is in-game header. All right. In-game header has a couple interfaces that are exposing things like how much credit we have. Can I change that if I go into debug here? All right, in this one we have credit set to 500 and I cannot manipulate it. I'm going to put in a little button or a little Boolean check on inside of there so I can manipulate this. Yeah, oh, I'll create a menu option up here. So load game, save game, let's manipulate the credit there. Cheat system. That should just be up here. It doesn't really matter where I add that in this case. All right, so let's go over to something, and we'll do add 1,000. In the save load system, sure, because we've already got a couple other systems inside, or a couple other things that respond to stuff. There we go, these ones. So now I need another one. Actually, it's not in this one. Let's put it in the place it would be used. Control X. That would be in the credit system, credit manager. So now I need the credit manager. Where are you? Why did all that stuff go away? Okay, credit manager. No. It's in-game header, and that has an interface for the credit manager. Okay, so this is the one that should carry it. Where's the credit? We've got credit stuff over here, so let's put a function inside of this. There. Vigilante cheat, which is otherwise known as test. Add credit. Unity editor dot menu item. Add credit. Now this one is add credit. And over here, we don't need an observable, but we should already, it doesn't have the static state. It does need an observable, so it's not the save load system. It's going to be the iCredit manager, and that's going to be the ICM. And then ICM dot set credit 10K, 10,000. 10K credit. And let's put one more in here as well. Control CD V. And let's put in 0 credit. And I guess one more too, because we got a couple options I want in here. So the second one, or the third one in here is 100. We want enough that we can spend on something and still have the value go down to 0, so that might be another option we want to test. All right, so I'm creating some test options, so that's 100, and this one is set it to 0. Thank you. Plus 10K credit, and let's do add credit. All right, since we are adding credit, that also means that it should refresh the UI with the same piece of information. Save. Oh, add credit 10K, add credit 100, set credit 100, and the last one is set credit 0. All right, so now inside the game, which if I left running is going to be broken. I should be able to automatically give myself the additional credits so I can purchase stuff now. There we go. Control P. My player, I believe, is at -500 right now, which will validate that. Enter, yeah, -500, but I can no longer buy anything with that. So if I'm in here, I select this one and I can't buy anything. So theoretically, this should be working if I can go Vigilante test plus 10K credits. Okay, now we have 9,500 credits. Now inside of here, I press enter. Okay, that went up, and I can see that my peak impulse is also going up. So now if I go back, oh, I feel like if I press up, that should bring me back to the top selection as well. I think I'll work that one in. That's this polish. That's not for now. Current task is get stuff done as quickly as I can. Reasonably can. Okay, impulse drive. Yep, going up by 5 per time, and Z. Now, impulse torque. There. Now I've got more range to spend on there. Now, Z and Z. That should have also saved. I should be at 8,300 and those other values should be up higher. So now I stop the game. Now I return to the game. My save values should still be in there. I should be at 8,300 when I start it. Enter. I'm at 8,300. This is excellent. Going into the mechanics, and I can see over here I'm at 5 of 20, 500 of 1,000, and 9 of 29, which I'm pretty sure is what I just had. Perfect. So Z, that one is now done. I don't have tuning in place. All right. So let's stop this code. Make sure the scene is saved. And go over back into here. Git add dot and git commit dash m. And inside of here, which one was this? We can now display the detail of the mechanic option. That's really all that we were, I think that was the key thing that we were doing in that one. Yeah. Oh, save the upgrades, comma, save upgrades, comma, upgrade peaks. Pull current values from options. And what's there was one more in here. Oh, test slash set slash add credits. All right, that's in there. Git push. Okay, now the last parts that I need to do are the upgrade options where we actually can tune this, which should be by what I need. I'm going to need another field inside of this to define what that is. Oh, and I need the rest of the physics options as well. What else I'm going to be putting in there. So, okay, yeah, there's still more to do in here. Freight, we got the mechanic, the builder. That one is in the UI mechanic. Still in debug. All right, these are all my settings down here. I am going to need to give that another potential option inside of there. This is a big growing class. Oh, that's over here. I just selected the file to go into here, and Rider is currently keeping in-game header as my selected file, which made me think this was the file that I just clicked to go into, but it's not. It's over here. It's on the other panel. I wish Rider could select the one that it just let it take focus for. That would be nice. I've gotten myself caught on that way too many times, and going through adding that initial, I have to now look and pay attention to which file I'm in, adds additional time to every single file that I have to start looking at, and I make sure which one I'm in most of the time. So it slows down the entire process, and that's a bug I'd love for them to fix. Okay, now inside of this, we have, what is this? Selection fields. Selection fields needs another option in here. So public, float, increase. No, public tune by. Tune amount? Tuning amount. This is how much I can set the value of this to, equals 1. That's going to be the default. Other ones, it'll be like 100 or 50, but it's how much that we modify the overall value by. All right, so now we've got the tuning amount. Let's just assume that that part is correct and working that we've got those options already filled in for the data. We now need to let the action key deal with this. So that is the action click that I want to deal with. Where is that? That's awake. Click selection, this is it. Now inside of this click selection, this is where we are in pay. We need to change this to also include if this dot lower selection equals and increase. Great, that's what we're looking for. So now we already have the credit, we already have the option. So increase, maybe we have the option. Let's find out. If not credit, if I need the option. Oh yeah, we've got it. Option dot uh, option get current, and inside of that one, that's we need the car. So that's this dot player, this dot car, this dot car. Okay, get current uh, equals is equal or is greater than or equal to. If the current value is greater than or equal to peak, then we cannot upgrade it any further. So option dot peak, cannot upgrade further, and return. Yeah, there's nothing to do with this one. Again, this is something that I can upgrade. It'll be during the polish phase likely that I will add in something to highlight that you are at your peak already. All right, so now now we have this. We know we have enough credit where we know we already have this stuff. So now let's upgrade it. So now this one is going to be option dot set current, and it's going to be for this car, comma, and now it wants, what does it want? It's covered up most of the stuff. There we go, value. So we want the value to be option.getCurrent. Plus, oh, let's just grab the value. So I'm going to say float current, float C equals, and this one is option.getCurrent. There. So if the current is greater than the peak, then we're going to return. Otherwise, C plus equals current option dot peak. If not peak, dot tuning amount. Now, if C is greater than option dot tuning amount, okay, if C is greater than option dot tuning amount, no, not, that's peak, dot peak. Then C equals option dot peak. So we cap it at the maximum. I can't imagine a reason why I would ever need to check that we are over the peak. However, the decimal places can be slightly off. But yeah, I'm not too concerned about this. If C is less, what should the minimum be? Minimum. I need a minimum on this one. This absolutely has to have a minimum. So where are my field options? It's up here. Tuning amount and public float minimum tuning equals 0 equals 1F. I think that would apply for 0. Let's put 0 as the default. I'll still have to go back through and set them all manually, but where am I actually setting this one? Down here. If C is less than option.minimum tuning, then C equals option.minimum tuning. There, now we've got that. So now the value that we're setting is C. Okay, then that one's done. Return. Oh, no, 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 it's not. Refresh, detail label, and now return. Okay, that updates the label. Now I need to go back into Unity and set some of these additional values so that they actually make sense. No, I've got another one in here. We might as well take care of both halves of this. So we've got the selection lower. Now we're going to do selection decrease as well. Reduce. I have increase. It should have been decrease. Whatever. Now, actually, I think that one's only held through logic and not being placed for any data at any point. So it's no front end data is holding on to it, which means that I can do a find replace to cover it. So let's go up to this one, F12, and we're going to change this one to decrease. Alt Enter, apply rename refactoring. Okay, so now in the decrease, we're going to do the same thing we did before, which was except it's a minus equals. We minus equals the tuning amount. Okay, set, return to Unity. Oh, I never told it to save. That one needs to be in there as well, right there, this one. Control C, Control V, and Control V. Okay, so now we're looking at values where values are by 5, tuning amount will be by 1. Okay, this is by 500, so the tuning value is going to be 100. I'm going to put the minimum at 100. This is impulse strafe. We should be able to move forward or move at all. Now we have impulse torque. The cost is 100. Over here we have a peak of 9, a current upgrade of 5, and my value tuning is by 1. That seems fine. I do need to be able to, I technically don't need to be able to turn, but I should. So let's keep a low value of 1. Okay, this gives me 3 values to work with. Let's test that I can actually get the tuning. Play. If this works, I'm going to go to my steering and do an initial view of how my steering works. Then I can see how fast it rotates. Next, I'll do an upgrade on it and make sure that I can actually turn faster or less. So right now I'm turning like this. This is the time it takes me to turn around. All right, enter. Now let's go to impulse torque and let's see if I can upgrade this. Okay, upgrade's working. That should be massively faster. Z and Z. Now, okay, yeah, that is much faster. Okay. But I get to tune the feel of it, so that's the point of buying these, that I can now... Hey, why is the enter key not working? The minus isn't working. I probably have the same if condition. Yeah, I do. Okay, lower selection. This needs to be if it is less than or equal to tuning minimum, then return. Perfect. Okay. So I couldn't reduce it if it was at the max value. That was a little backwards. Okay, so in this case, we know that we're trying to reduce it, so I don't need to check the peak. And over here, we know we're trying to increase it, so I don't need to check the minimum. That's why adding the minimum felt weird the first time. Okay, return back to the game. And let's make sure that that part is working. Stop. And if that is in place, then the only thing I need to do is choose what other physics field to put in there and add a couple lines of code to support where it changes them, which is only in one spot, so that's easy. All right. Finding icons. If I decide to, that'll be polish. All right. Control P. Let's try this again. Oh, the turning setup should be saved as well. So that means when I come into here, my turning should still operate really fast. Yeah, it does. Enter. Enter. And over here, we're going to reduce this. I still have to press the button the whole time. I don't have I, I can't just hold the button down and it starts to kind of gradually decrease it. So anyway, let's drop it down to about half of what it was. Faster than what I left it, so than the original. Okay, that's better. Oh, the camera spring, that'd be a good one to include. It's not part of the traditional car physics in that one, but how quickly the camera moves into place, because the camera motion and how that can follow changes the feel of the speed. So you can manipulate the camera by itself and make the car feel like it's moving faster or slower. All right, but that is good. The UI is effectively functional. Um, Got to commit this one. Control SS, save, go back over to terminal. Where's terminal? Oh, there it is. Get dot. Okay, get commit dash M. All right, get commit dash M, and in this one, the mechanic UI is fully functional, but needs a few more physics options. Needs 12 more physics options. Git push. Right now, the git push doesn't move this stuff off to another machine, but it does at least get it off to another hard drive on the same computer. I need to finish getting that network share, or getting the network storage and backup done. All right, inside of here, now I need the other options. What am I going to mess with? Let's go over to car. Here's car. Let's put that up there. Now, oh, that's car action. That's not what I want. I need car. Let's bring up the properties, right click and properties. Let's put this one over here. Now I need to select, oh, first off, hierarchy. Let's go back over to UI mechanic and now select the car again. These are the fields that I can interact with. I have just messed with the impulse. Now I've got some other ones like the impulse pressure. Down pressure is, that's when you're pressing, when you're I guess I need names better defined for these, but I can change the names. I just need something in there to begin with. So the title of the first one is going to be gravity force. Let's do gravity force for the first one. Gravity force. Okay, that's there. Now, what about counter-gravity force? That's the settings inside of these parts. Does this keep using this structure for it, or does it have to go back? I think it uses this structure still. So I should be fine. What I'm questioning right now is, in past ones, I have used the settings to then store information into a much larger mesh of data that applied to the physics. In this case, I think the physics engine of this version is specifically going back to each of these fields every time and processing what it needs to know. The forces, if not, I'll need to trigger a change on that to make sure that it reloads, so both from the loading of the game and from making a change in the mechanics section. So far, steering worked, but steering was a different force system. It's not part of the hover system. Okay, so gravity force, cost 100. Okay, in this one, what are some of the values? Oh, the peak is storing the data. I need a way to reset this back to 0. because all of this data is stored to the game right now. But that's different. I can do that one manually, but I can also just write a script later that'll handle it. Oh, get current and get peak. Yeah, that is a bit of a problem. Well, I can pull the original data back off the originals. Okay, so all right, now let's do this. Peak upgrade 9, upgrade no. This one, gravity force. So gravity force currently has a description of pay 100 for +5 gravity. \n closer to ground, comma, and the closer your pressure is. No, because then you're based on power. The gravity pushes you closer to the ground, equals higher pressure equals faster speed. It's kind of important for people to understand why that affects it. However, maybe it might work better if people just kind of figure that out from tuning the mechanics anyway. So right now, peak should be, what is the peak? The peak gravity force is set up at 10. So let's go with 10. We are at the peak. Upgrade, we'll add another 5. Costs 100, adds 5. The tuning amount is by 1. Yes. Minimum tuning. How much gravity can we have? 0? Could we just fly? I still capture the direction. It wouldn't have any normal force. The downward impulse, I believe, doesn't add extra pressure. I think it multiplies the pressure. Okay, well, that'll be interesting. We'll find out. I'll set this to 1. The lowest gravity is 1, so we can really hop with this one. But reference image, none. Icon, none. That one's good. Okay, next, let's start reducing some of these other ones. I don't need to keep going through them. Okay, after gravity force, then we have gravity distance. Do I care? Gravity distance is how far it checks as to whether or not. I'm not going to worry about that one. Okay, current gravity distance, we are 4.5 meters off the ground. All right, impulse forward torque, down pressure. So this one is raised gravity. Down pressure, called down pressure for now. If I don't have a better name, I'll match up what I'm using in the physics terms. Okay, so cost 100. Description. You know what? There's a lot of boilerplate in that. Control C, Control V. Pay 100 for +5 down pressure. Closer. This one is not action. This one is downward pressure. Pressure button. Pressure button increases the down pressure. Pressure button increases the down pressure, getting closer to the ground and faster. I think at this point I am cutting out. I'm too long for the text, and it's gonna it'll, what's the term? It's not wrap. Because the text already wraps, but it'll just stick out the side of the text. For whatever reason, the UI system in Unity does not seem to have an auto size to be able to change the size of the font, which is really surprising because Why did I just forget the term of it? The text system, Text Mesh Pro, covers it. And I would have figured that they're still using Text Mesh Pro on that. Or if not, that they at least covered the same common features that we find in it. But if it's there, I couldn't find it. Wouldn't surprise me if it's one of the CSS style options and I literally just didn't see it. Okay, so the peak value right now for the gravity force, impulse down pressure. Oh, that actually changes the downward pressure. It changes the force, but it has a multiplier down. I think. Whatever. We'll find that out. Peak. So the peak right now is 5. Upgrade gives you 5. Tuning is by 1, and minimum is by 1. I have no idea how that'll work. Okay, so now the down pressure, let's go grab the previous text, Control C. And what's next in the list? The next one, we have pressure drive. I should also put in one quick line that just says whatever number I have here, it'll disable whatever number of options it doesn't have inside of this. But that also says that if I have a past save, I get an update to the game, then anyone who's got the game will lose whatever extra options they don't have right now. And they won't even get the option to purchase. No, that's not from the save game. That's from this. So yeah, that's perfect. I should put that in there. All right, so gravity distance, gravity force. I can reduce the number of items that show up in that top list. Traction multiplier, pressure drive. Those ones are temporary. Conditioning. Okay, so conditioning Z to Y. Conditioning Z to Y. Cost 100. Pay 100 for Z to Y conditioning. Okay, so Y is forward, Z is down. So if I have Y, no, isn't that Y to Z? What did I have in here? Z to Y. Oh, what? That's because Y. Yeah, I've got the wrong. I had the wrong axis for Y in my head. Okay, Z is forward, Y is up. Drive. Convert to walls at higher speeds. Drive up walls. I'll have to find a better way to explain this. Drive up walls at a higher speed. So if you're going at full speed in the car and then you're just driving straight at it, the pressure system does start to push the car up automatically because it's close to a surface, but at a high speed, it doesn't push it up fast enough before the car actually rams into the surface, even if it's gone up just a little bit. So the conditioning system is part of an additional one that makes the physics in here feel better. So as I'm driving, I hit that and then the car will push up even more. So it may bottom out a little bit, but it's already corrected enough that its gravity is stabilized to the wall. And likely you won't lose anything from that. So in that one, I do want the ability to move up and down to be captured. So that one is okay. So you drive up walls at higher speed. It's not that we're driving up a wall because that's not the thing. Drive into take on head-on collision with wall will drive up wall easier, sooner. Of course, if these values get too high, it also makes it like a boat. So you're closer to something is already like tipping the car up. So if you raise it too high, it also damages the experience, but then every one of these changes the experience of the game. And so you can have fun with any of them. All right, so peak is currently, what is the peak? The peak is 10. All right, upgrade will be by 10. Okay, pay 100 for plus 10. Okay, tuning amount 1, and the minimum tuning. Okay, minimum tuning will be 1. Conditioning 0? Okay, yeah, minimum is 0. Okay, I'll leave it at that. Reference image, there is none. Wait, wasn't I setting one of these other ones and I set like a number for the last field? Oh, I had an image. Okay, got it. I don't have images to define and explain the rest of the stuff. I can create one for gravity force. I'll have to create one for the other ones too. All right, so now inside of this, what do we have? ZY. Let's grab this one and go Control C, Control there. Conditioning. What is this one? X to Y? X to Y. Okay, pay 100 for X to Y conditioning. Strafe. Strafe collision with wall will drive up wall sooner. All right. Now the peak value is currently set to 100. And the upgrade amount, I'll put in 10. And tuning amount is by 1. Minimum tuning is 0. All right. Okay, and as long as I get rid of the other options, then this is good, because what do I have? I have 7, which means I have 8 options in there right now. So first off, just to make sure I've got the numbers correct, let's go 8, 9. Yeah, that's correct. We're going to save it to 8. Can I undo that? Yes. Okay, good. I just wanted to make sure if I accidentally wipe out this data somehow, I can put it back. Good. Excellent. Now I do need a piece of code in here for the mechanic UI that will only show the number of them. This one, okay. That will only show the number of these things based on what we have available, what configuration options we have. So text selection, we get the UI options, we configure the UI options. This is where we do it, F12. So for each one of the ones in option info length, now I need to say for int I equals 0. No, int I equals option info dot length. Yeah, I plus plus. No, I is less than. And then what is it? UI options. Options dot length. And then I plus plus. Okay, so now we're going to go through each one of the options that we have from the end of, from the end of the options to the beginning, to the end of the UI options length. And now we're going to deactivate those ones. So now we're going to say UI options I dot set active dot style dot enable self equals false, because I don't need those at all for the rest of gameplay. They're not going to be used, and the options will still technically be there in memory, but they're disabled. Okay, now I also need to set my peak on here. So right now I had it at 15, but I am going to shrink that one down. So what is that? Selected top index. How can I tell that I've gone too far? I don't think I have anything that does that right now. So I need distances. There we go. How can we tell if we have moved too far? Oh, UI options.length. It's not UI options.length. It should be options. Option info.length. Subtle difference there. Okay, that sets the peak for how far we can move in those. So now they are invisible and we can no longer reach the peak. That should be perfect. I think with that one, that will complete the car physics or the mechanic shop for now. I can always add more features to tune inside of there later. I could also put engine offsets. That completely would change how well things operate. Or make it more wacky, like a clown car that wants to roll. Except it doesn't roll, it just goes, flips over and splats. All right, play. Did I have anything I needed to set in there? Oh, when I go to the mechanic shop, those extra menu options should disappear. Something's broken. It's unhappy. Menu options. That was line 126. Line 126 of mechanic menu. So inside of this one, we're saying option I dot type equals. We're going through each one of the UI options because we're going through that one. No, we're limiting it to our option info dot length. Okay, that's fine. Option info, we're doing our array checks against there. Let's do this. Control C, Control F, and Control V. Find, so length, option info length. UI options is a special case there. I need to work with that one. Let's find any more. Option info dot length. Option info dot length. That's it. Okay. So all of the length checks that I'm doing, of course, maybe there's also one that's using count. Who knows? All right. Now let's go back to the game. Stop. Maybe it's done. Play. Okay. So now enter. Those other ones are still there. The text on these, oh, the text is all so big still. I need to modify them. And I can't do a mass edit. I can't select 10 of the exact same thing and get it to change the. Maybe I can as long as they are all the exact same type. I may have been selecting multiple types of elements in there. But anyway, yeah, so the texts are off. These ones are still visible. Even though I told them to be disabled, I need to have the visibility. I think it was in the styles. Okay, so enable self doesn't do a thing. Hide, visibility, visible equals false. There. So visibility equals false. I also need to fix the UI. So go back into here, stop. All right, that's in there. Save and play. I know the text is still going to overlap, but that's okay. Oh, I do need code points. I need to change that in the code too. All right, so start. I got these ones. Now it's going to complain. Oh, they'll be set to 0. So like this one is 0 to 0. It doesn't have an image, doesn't know what to do with it. And there's no function to actually gather that or put that data in place yet. So I need to put that one in there. Let's do it. Down, pressure down, conditioning. But otherwise, it did get rid of the extra items. That's good. Escape, stop. All right, so inside of here, let's go change the visuals on the UI builder. So inside of here, I've got this one, and now let's also add this one. Yeah, I can't multi-select and edit. I have to go into each one and find every field individually that will want to be the same and use them. I could also set this up where it just adds them because of the fact that I have... Do I want to do that? Do I want to create one that is a batch? No. I am just going to modify these ones. I have some UI edits and then I can move on from this. So the original one was 21. This is going to be 33. So this is 21. Enter. 21. Enter. 21. What? No, I don't want the bottom thing. Let me... Okay. That gives me the text size that I wanted on all of them. There still might be some other information that shows up poorly over here. We'll get to that though. For now, I do need the code functionality in there as well though. Let's do a quick play and just make sure that the size actually does work out for everything else. It does have line wrap, so I should be able to, for multiple words, get them to split out, but I might have a longer word in the descriptions now. So enter conditioning. Why didn't wrap? Line wrap is not set up on those ones. So go back into UI Builder, and now let's start selecting all these other ones. And what is it? I need a line wrap. Line wrap. Line wrap. I don't think I can even create a prefab for many of these. You know what? I'm going to try that. Let's drag this down over into prefabs. I can't create a prefab from it. I can't select multiple and set them. So the only other option is that I can duplicate something at runtime, have it create that option, add it to the component that I want, and make sure the original prefab is disabled and hidden away so that I can keep adding those. I think Unity still needed some work on their UI on their new UI system. I get what they were doing though. Like they're focusing on the CSS and the more XAML or JSON logic structure of how the data and everything is put together, as opposed to code pushing the entire structure. It's now more data driven. All right, but that's not my concern right now. My concern is that I have text wrap. What? No, this one there. Wrap, yes. This one, wrap, yes. Wrap, 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 wrap. As this slowly puts me to sleep. All right, save it. Play it once more. Let's test and see what this looks like. Conditioning's too long for that. Conditioning. Okay, that's polish. It works well enough for that. So if I want it, I can improve it in the polish stage, which the polish stage is supposed to get in like music, sound effects, better visuals, maybe doodads, increasing the map size, etc. Things, whatever I consider is the higher priority for those times. And I'm just about done with this. So that part is... Oh, I need the code. I need to actually be able to get and set those particular values. So where is... That code is up at the top. Which items do I have in here now? All right, let's start adding these other ones. Up there, Control C, V, 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 there. Now, what have I got in this? I need the enumerator types, these ones. And I need to get that information from up here. Oh, it's all stored in these ones. So let's take Unity, drag you over here. So I've got that list right there. Now I'm going to put everything else up right there. Cool. And let's put this menu on this side instead. Pause menu. Gotta grab mechanic menu. The video, I'm sure, will show otherwise. Okay, so impulse torque. Now I need gravity force. Gravity force equals 4. Down pressure equals 5. Conditioning, what is it? ZY equals 6. Conditioning XY equals 7. All right, now I need to actually use those. So let's start using them. Control C, Control V, Control C, Control V, Control C, Control V, Control C, Control V. Get rid of the last 4 lines, last 3 lines. There we go. So I've got 8 options that I'm dealing with right now. Return car. Now this is car for gravity force is dot gravity force. Perfect. Okay, the next one is down pressure. So that one is down, impulse down pressure. Perfect. Okay, conditioning is conditioning dot and transfer Z to Y. And same thing over here, conditioning dot transfer X to Y. X toy, Z toy. Now let's put these other ones in. Control C, V, 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 bunch of them. Okay, now what have I got? Impulse torque is the last one I left off on. Gravity force, Control C. Control V, Control C, Control V, Control C, Control V, and Control C, Control V. Okay, get rid of the last one, delete. Now that I've got those ones, it is impulse torque. The last one on this is gravity force. Then I need impulse pressure down, conditioning dot Z. Yes, okay. And then conditioning dot X. That should work for all the different types now. I don't save the values. I still need to get all these values saved. All the values do. This save operation. That looks through all the UI options. Not the UI options. No, it's option info, and option info has a limit on it now. Okay, save it. When it loads the old data, it might be mistaken on there. So let's go to save load system. Okay, so save. No, over here. This one, we go through everything in option info and add it. Good. Now on the load, we go through everything in mechanic option info and we load it based on that one, what options that has. So that means you could potentially take a newer save game and put it back inside of this. However, we'll probably have other fields stored inside it as well. Okay, so all of those should already be in the save system. Which means when I do this, it should load. Now, I do need to go check car. So car, we have these fields. We have the conditioning. But I think they do get transferred over into the actual car structure. So over here, on this one, we have the thruster model. The thruster has a normal. We have the power, we have the force. So the amount of power, the force, the distance that they're going has been set at the initialization. I need to see what actually generates this. We've got the engine model there. We got the car model. During the awake sequence, there has to be something where we are establishing the engine. There it is, initialize engine. So initialize engine is going through, it's looking at all the fields, and it's starting to now set all the thrusters and everything based off of this data. That means that when I make a change in the mechanics shop, I need the car to initialize its engine again, which means this now needs to be public. And the save game needs to be able to access it when it loads, and also the mechanics shop needs to do it as part of its save states. So now let's go back over to mechanic menu and get current. I don't care about that. Mechanic menu has a couple spots where we're trying to save stuff. So let's go to the save load, find all references, find all usages. There we go. Next one. Good. Now this dot car. Oh, that's save. The save doesn't matter. The save will gather the information and be able to use it. It's only when we're loading, and loading never gets called here. These are all saves. Okay, so let's just go to save game, not save game. I need the save system, and let's go find the load function. Load. How many places is this used? Okay, it's used in save load system, load game menu click, and start is start game. All right, so in this one, we start the game, we have this, we load it. This is the one that matters most right now. After I load the data, I need to go to this.car.playerCar. This is on the start menu, it doesn't have it. How do I get to the player car from here? I don't have a reference, I'm gonna need it. Start menu now needs to know about the player car. And that's because I need to get access to it. I think I need to put a special, I'm not going to do a special script. I'm just going to put a reference in for right now. I can improve this as I go. So public car, player car. All right, now at this point, I'm just going to assume I have player car. So player car dot, we got the player car. That one was initialize engine. After we load data, we need to initialize the engine. All right, now from the load, there were two places this is being called. So save load system has another one. Oh, right there. This one also needs to get the player car, but there is no player car available from here. We're in a static state. We need to find the player car. All right, so I'm going to do a really ugly one. We know that it's going to have driver, car driver. So in this case, we go to Unity game object dot find. If I can avoid it, I always do, but not really here. Okay, find objects by type, find object by type, and that type is going to be car driver. I get this one because that gives me the car. Get component. What? So that should have returned it as a car driver, right? T dot. Oh, it's plural. I've got the objects. I just need the one. So find object. Find game object. Find. And it wants the name. Do I have a special name attached to it? I don't think I have. Find game object with tag. Fine, we'll do that one. Game object, and then for the tag, I assume it's just string. In this case, we've got Player. Do I actually have a tag in the scene for that? All right, so where's my car? I suppose it would make sense for a system to have this, but I don't want to keep adding these systems. Okay, so we got the car. No, that's not the one. I want the one in the hierarchy. I don't need that up anymore. The car over here. Do I have a tag in here called player? Tag. Player. Thank you. All right. So I have tagged the car as the player. Can I have multiples? No, I cannot. I can only select one. It feels like it's almost like layer at that point, except layer applies to physics. So, or graphics. But I feel like tag really needs to have multiple tag options, but whatever. We will skip that concern. Okay, so car, we have the car. We can get the access to the car now. So in that place, it is, we get the tag by the game object by that, and we say get component uh, car dot, and now we've got the car. So in this one, we're going to, what is it? Initialize engine. That should be it. Wait, in this one, I'm saving. This is not the spot I wanted to put that. I want to put that down here where we load. Okay, so both of these have access to it. You know what? I'm going to do the same thing at load. We're just going to take this, Control C, and it is a universal way to initialize the engine. Then I don't have to go into my code and put this reference in there for player car. Delete. And it's also during the game load, which taking an extra frame or two for that, not a big deal. If this is done, then mechanics is done. Oh, what have I got going on here? No, cancel that. All right, so inside of here, if this is working, play. All of the options should show up, so I should see the current values of what's inside of them and be able to tune them, save them, and feel the difference of what's going on with it. So start, enter, and impulse drive. We got 5 out of 20. Now, that doesn't save anything. Oh, last time it was saving, or when I first made my changes to it, it wasn't saving. And then by the time I was saving, I wasn't, I had saved the amount of credits, but wasn't saving the other values. So I need to test that these ones are actually coming in. Plus, no, I did test that. Okay, so plus drive impulse. This should make the car faster. Oh, let's go to Z first. So right now my speed forward and backward is here. Holding it for a second doesn't run me into that wall. Now I'm going to go to impulse drive. And let's increase that count. Now ZZ, that should have saved too. Whoa, yep, bam. That is so hard to control. But it's pretty fast. All right. And that's the objective. You can try it and it'll change how you feel, how it's doing stuff. And so that also means that my conditioning needs to increase. But conditioning also has distances. If I decrease the distance ranges, that would be another good one to add into this list. So I've got more things to add. All right. But yeah, I can change it so I drive closer to the ground, that I have a shorter range of what's impacting it. And then that means that I can navigate through more narrow corridors, which that would also change the game. I recently just scaled up the size of everything because there were too many corridors. It was way too tough. There's still plenty of stuff in here that's tough to do. Wait, didn't I just reduce that? Oh, speed. Let's save this. So right now that should be saved. So let's stop. My speed was still going very quick there. So now let's go back into here and try this again. When I get into here, my speed should be operating at high speed. Yeah, that's still high speed. All right. So now let's go over to impulse drive, and then on this one we're gonna go minus and subtract a few. Z. Okay, that's better. Oh yeah, strafe and this are still both on the same key. I still have some keys that I need to manipulate on how they operate. That's tuning. Stop. The game is good. That one is done. Save this stuff. Go to this one. I think this is an excellent spot to break for today. Get add dot. Okay, get commit dash m mechanic shop works. Done. I think honestly, even in production quality code, there's a strong reason to support the mentality of get the feature out and done, and then expect a polishing phase. Expect a phase where you're going back through and saying, this works, it could work better. What do we need to resolve? And then putting pressure on the things that stand out the most. Most places do have things like that, but then we never really, we try to get the task completed to this top polish level when we're first doing it, when it's earlier on and we haven't gotten later in the project where we may decide, hey, these other things that we spent all this time polishing, let's get rid of that. Let's change some of those features. No, let's get the features in, get them working, and then we can improve the polish where we need to. If it proves vital during gameplay, then or just from like game testing or to get some of the other stuff going, then yes, upgrade it at those times. All right. Did I commit? I did. And then get push. Wow. Game mechanics is done. I just want to see what else I have left to do. This whole thing is now done. So, woohoo. Okay, done. Next, I have polish the audio for 2 hours. So that's adding sound effects. So we want the engine noises. We want some sort of atmospheric sound, maybe music. We want UI noises to happen. Then we want to also polish visual. I might tie in both of these items at the same time. Then we also want to implement a Steam hook. I already have Vigilante Racer as one of the games available on Steam. It's got its page, so I'm planning on releasing this as one of the Vigilante Racer forms, but I'm going to specifically title it and change the textures, the description and everything to match up with the current game. All right, and then I need to create and validate a Windows or Linux game. And right now for doing the streaming, I am still on Windows because I don't have a audio filter for it yet. And then finally is the Steam release, which I should be able to push it out there. I've already got the page up. So that's not much. That's 6, 10, 12, 16 hours left. 2 days. Depending on how much time I can throw into it, it'll be done this weekend. All right.